Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire.
What does asbestos management mean to you?
I used to really struggle with the asbestos management at my site, but now it's a breeze.
It used to be really expensive. I was paying loads, but now I've got my asbestos power team in place. It's so much easier.
Asbestos can be a pain in the arse if not handled right.
We had to stop the job because asbestos was discovered. Now we don't have that problem.
Asbestos management is easier than you think. Asbestos management. Be proactive, not reactive. Think about asbestos first, not last.
And now your hosts, best-selling authors and asbestos experts, Ian Stone and Neil Munro.
Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire. I'm Ian Stone.
I'm Neil Munro.
So today we're talking about the problem with using asbestos database.
Yeah.
What I mean by that...
What do you mean?
Let me tell you a story. Now, let me set the scene, right? So we had this recently and it kind of... We always try and head it off because this can happen time and again. So recently, it was yourself, wasn't it? You went and did a presentation for one of our clients for the database.
Yeah.
And the property director and the property department, they absolutely loved it. They were like, this is for us. We want a piece of that. We can see everything we want. It's got everything up there, the good, the bad, the ugly. We can see what's up and coming. We can see how many potential projects that we've got to do. We can see our action plan. It's literally all there.
It was the way it was delivered. But it was kind of
10 points for effort.
That's why they loved it.
Yeah, okay. That aside, I'm sure it was. I wasn't there, but I've seen you do that presentation before, and I always want to buy it.
Thank you, Ian.
No, right. So, but that's the scene. So you're sitting there in the office, the property department, the estates directors, property directors are sitting there saying, fantastic. This is what we want, because for them, it ticks all the boxes. So they're like, yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah.
What we got to do? Can you send me a login? Yeah, no problem. There you go. So this is the next level down of what I'm talking about, of how it's actually used. Because in reality, all that estates director is going to do is to log in and look at that kind of the high level overview front screen of what they've got going on with their asbestos.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's all they're concerned with. With regards to the actual day-to-day implications and running of it and how it's used, well, how are they going to teach and train the individuals to use it? So let me talk about how... Go on.
Yeah, all I was going to say just before we got into it was the reason why that is kind of sometimes overlooked is the asbestos database is really easy to use. It is straightforward. You can't break it. So you can essentially play around with it, get your head around it quite easily, and you can't break it. And then that's kind of like what we always say to them. And it's easy to get kind of washed away with, just because you get it and you get how it works, doesn't mean to say that every other single person that sees the database is going to be able to pick it up and run with it.
And also, that said, we kind of do say that because we let the clients go off and have a little play with it, don't we?
Yeah.
But that's after you've already shown them.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. It's kind of, if you were brand new, given a login, logged in, I mean, yeah, some people could figure it out, some people can't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, with the best will in the world, everybody learns differently. And kind of planning and hoping that everybody can pick up a 400-page user manual with their login and then figure out what they need to do.
And have the time to do that.
And that is a very good point, because having the time to have a play around with the database to get the head around it, well, I'm not doing that, mate. I'm already bloody busy.
Yeah.
Would be a lot of people's kind of reactions.
Yeah, definitely. And from an estate's point of view, they're kind of used to, they're used to this type of information.
Yeah.
And they've got a good base level of understanding what asbestos is.
Yeah, exactly. In and around databases and asbestos.
And databases and using kind of that information where you start rolling it out to, particularly in big portfolio clients, when you start rolling it out to individual stores, store managers, and cascading it down the staff members on a site-by-site basis, it kind of does get...
It gets watered down. Completely.
And that's attention to it kind of does get lost.
It dwindles. And that was where I was going. So you've got the estates director at the top, all shiny, new, fantastic. Yeah, lovely. It ticks all my boxes.
This is amazing.
I can log in, see what I need to.
Yeah.
When it's rolled out, like you say, to the store manager, well, the store manager, I don't know, They might sell clothes. It's a clothing store. And that person, this might be their first kind of interaction with asbestos and asbestos management ever. Mm-hmm. And just giving them a login and a user guide, a user manual, it doesn't cut the mustard. They're not going to pick it up. They're busy already. They're not going to kind of have the inclination to do it. And the problem is that is where asbestos management breaks down. And that's when incidents can happen. Because if it's their duty to make sure that any contractor coming to their site has logged in and checked where they're working before they start work, well, if they don't know how to check that they've checked, well, this is where it all starts to break down. So what I'm saying is, as well as rolling it out to the high level people that are essentially buying the database and getting on board with it, that you need to have that forethought of how it's actually going to be used in your day-to-day basis. And the way that we cover this off for clients is we incorporate it into our annual re-inspections. When the client has gone, yep, I want the portal, I'm all on board, we'll do an initial round robin database management training for everybody that needs it. So each individual store, if they have a big conference, sometimes all the managers from the stores get together and we'll do one set of training for all of them on stage. A lot of the time they don't do that. So what we do, we'll go around and visit each store. One of our guys goes and visits each store. They'll run through with the store manager what asbestos they've got, where it is, what condition it's in currently, and then give the overview of what asbestos is, why it's an issue, why they need to manage it, what that company's asbestos management plan says should happen, and how to go about in using the database to get that done. So that's kind of the initial rollout. And then it's picked up on year after year, because when we go back and do the re-inspections, we then do an overview and a rundown again. If the store manager hasn't changed, then that's literally a quick 5-minute job of a conversation of, look, let me just run through with you. I just want to make sure that you are fully on board with the database still, because they might not have looked at it for a few months. And if it's like me, I mean, I forget what I did last week from a weekend, let alone a few months.
That's more to do with what you do at the weekend.
Yeah, I'll clear my head because I'm out walking in the countryside. So that's how we check it off. And also at that point, again, we mentioned this the other week, especially at the moment, people are changing jobs, people are being let go, different people are moving into different roles. And this is a good point to pick up and make sure that if that person has changed role, well, this is where we capture them. We capture them and we give them the training they need so that the asbestos management plan is being followed and the asbestos database is being used to its fullest.
Yeah. Training. Again, it's getting that information across to the people that really do need to know it.
Yeah.
These are the ones that are, it's troops on the ground, isn't it? And they're the ones that really...
They're the ones in the trenches.
These are the ones that really do need to know the specific site details and how to implement them and how to manage, on a day-to-day basis and prevent people being exposed to asbestos.
Yeah.
And how to get that information really from the database.
Definitely. And that's the thing, because you can have the best, sexiest looking front screen that the property director loves.
Yeah.
But if the store manager isn't doing what they should be doing and getting contractors to check and sign and all the rest of it, well...
We're not even looking at it.
Well, exactly. So quite quickly, that beautiful, sexy database where everything's green and all good, suddenly you're going to have reds all over it because there's going to be incident. Asbestos that was in a good condition has now been damaged by a contractor coming to put a new epoch system in. Yeah, it's crazy. And that's the thing. It's the whole training aspect of it from top to bottom to make sure that everything's being captured. And like I say, that's what we do for a lot of our clients, because essentially that's part of the Acorn Asbestos Antidote. It's the beginning to end of this. And it's not just, oh, can you come and do a re-inspection? Oh, can we have your database? It's the bigger picture. It's the holistic approach from complete beginning to end. It's laid out. You know where you're at. You know what's coming up, rather than just, like I say, using a consultant to do a bit for you.
Yeah.
That's where it falls down.
Effective asbestos management comes from everyone doing their bit. Everyone being in the knowledge of how to safely manage the asbestos. asbestos is not a secret. It's integrated into the company procedures and the safe working environment. That's a real biggie.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And it's like once one of our clients has been through the asbestos antidote, that they then implement it into their stuff. So instead of asbestos being a barnacle stuck on the side of what they do or a pain in the arse of what they do, it's integrated into what they do as a day-to-day business. It's integrated into their company inductions. It's integrated in the fact that people want to manage and be proactive about asbestos. And it goes back to our strapline, think about asbestos first, not last.
Yeah, shoehorned it in.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to say on it.
No.
It's a big thing that's not happening.
It's something that's probably, it's not always considered and often overlooked. With all the good planning behind it, when you get to this point where you've got all this stuff in place,
this is where it falls down because
it's no point just, we've got a database.
Yeah.
Keeping it really quiet. It needs to be fully integrated into the staff, into the environment, and where the day-to-day management is happening. They have to be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And they need to know all about it. They're the ones that are using it, and they're kind of the last line of defence on, something going wrong.
They're not using it, and they don't understand it. Then ultimately,
and they're not on board with it as well. We didn't really. This helps to get everyone kind of on board, because it's a real positive thing of, you're not introducing a system that is a bit alien to people.
No,
and they can get on board with it if they're familiar and they know how to use it.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's it. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you get everybody on board, you give them the training, you give them the information of how to manage asbestos for you, well, guess what's going to happen? Your asbestos is going to be managed from the bottom up, because it's all the best will in the world. You roll it all out and it's like, this is what we're doing, crack on. But if it's not handed over in the right way, then ultimately it won't work. But ultimately, if it does work, then this becomes part of the fully automation of asbestos management. Hope you enjoyed that one. I enjoyed talking about that. Remember, asbestos first, not last.